.gov/SBS.
I'm Victor Calisi, Commissioner of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities. Traveling around the city can become a challenge when drivers fail to follow basic parking rules. Parking spaces designated for people with disabilities ensure equal access to goods and services. Parking without a permit in a designated space or using a fake permit is illegal. For more information, dial 311.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
I'm Donna Corrado, Commissioner of the New York City Department for the Aging. Any person age 60 and older can avail themselves of a myriad of senior centers located throughout the 5 boroughs. Senior centers foster friendships, offer fitness and wellness classes, hot, nutritious meals, and other fun activities. Members can also get assistance applying for entitlements and benefits. Go see for yourself. Call 311 to get the location of a center near you.
Hi, I'm Bita Mostofi, the Acting Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. Deferred action for childhood arrivals and temporary protected status are crucial protections for many immigrant New Yorkers, but the Trump administration has put these programs at risk. If you or someone you love have questions about DACA, TPS, or other immigration matters, call 311 and say Action NYC for a free and confidential legal screening. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/immigrants.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
Hi, I'm DCAS Commissioner Lisette Camilo. The Department of Citywide Administrative Services is an instrumental part of New York City government. We're comprised of more than 2,000 employees who work in personnel management, engineering, procurement, real estate, custodial services, and more. We're on a mission to be customer-focused, service-driven. To find out more about what DCAS does and who we are, visit nyc.gov/DCAS.
Hello, this is New York City Public Advocate Letitia James. Equal pay for equal work should be more than just a slogan. It should be a reality. And that's why I sponsored a law that bans employers from asking candidates about salary history, breaking a cycle of wage discrimination. If you are asked your salary history at a job interview, do not hesitate to call my office at 212-669-7250 or email us at pubadvocate.nyc.gov or call 311.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
The Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities now has a direct video conferencing line for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, ASL Direct. ASL Direct connects users to an information specialist fluent in ASL that can provide information about New York City services. If you have a friend, family member, or neighbor who is deaf or hard of hearing, let them know about ASL Direct. Help us spread the word. For more information or to get connected to New York City government, visit nyc.gov/ASL. That's nyc.gov/ASL.
The Taxi and Limousine Commission's Accessible Dispatch Program now offers citywide service. Order a yellow or green wheelchair accessible taxi on demand or in advance at no extra cost. Download the Accessible Dispatch app, book at accessibleddispatch.com or call 646-599-9999. For New York Relay, dial 711. Now you can access the city like never before.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311 or visit nyc.gov.
Hello, this is New York City Public Advocate Letitia James. Every New Yorker deserves to live in a safe and decent home, but too often residents are forced to live in dangerous conditions and face illegal harassment by their landlords. If you are having problems with your home or your landlord, please call my office at 212-669-7250. Email us at pubadvocate.nyc.gov or call 311.
This is Charlene McCrae, the First Lady of New York City. Thousands of immigrant New Yorkers depend on temporary protected status, but for many people, this crucial protection has been ended by the Trump administration, and thousands of children are at risk of losing their guardians. TPS recipients are a vital part of our city. We can't let their families be torn apart. If you or a loved one has TPS or any questions regarding immigration, you can get a free, safe, and confidential legal screening. Just call 311 and say Action NYC. Learn more at nyc.gov/TPS.
Remember, for more information about New York City government services, dial 311.
Hi, I'm Al Weber, Director of NYC Open Data. Every time you call 311, register for a city permit, or see your streets cleaned, you're seeing your government at work. You're also seeing the creation of public data. Did you know that there are over 1,900 such data sets available to the public on the NYC Open Data portal? We believe that every New Yorker can benefit from open data, and our portal gives you the tools to fully participate in a data-informed city. Get started by visiting nyc.gov/opendata.
I'm Donna Corrado, Commissioner of the New York City Department for the Aging. As people age, they often face a shrinking circle of family, friends, and social life, which leads to isolation and loneliness. But it doesn't have to be that way. A commitment of an hour a week as a friendly visitor makes a world of difference. To volunteer your time or to connect with a friendly
Talk now.
All right. I guess it's whenever you're ready, right? Whenever she's ready.
Get the microphone right for you. Okay, you are ready. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Speak up.
Speak up? Okay. Hi, I'm Alexis Pender, and welcome to Marcy.
Louder. Start again, louder.
Louder? Okay. Okay. I'm Alexis Pender, and welcome to Marcy.
All right, very good. They could hear that.
I'm 11 years old, and Mr. Mayor, I love to dance, and for a very long time, I didn't have a place to dance. But now with this community center, I have a place to dance. My friends have a place to dance, and we all have a place to dance.
Yes, we do.
I want to thank all the elected officials for helping us get this community center. And now, Marcy, give a round of applause for Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. That's good. You did great. You did great. Congratulations. Well done. All right. Let's give a round of applause to Alexis. Great job. So, Alexis, today is about you and all the other young people here at Marcy who deserve this kind of opportunity. And it is long overdue, but we're finally getting it done. So it's going to be a good thing for the young people of this community. And I want to thank, there's so many people here who have been working for years to get us to this day. You're going to hear from some of the elected officials, and I want to give them a lot of credit for their energy and their persistence. But I want to give credit to the whole community. People have fought for justice for Marcy for a long time. Give each other a round of applause. To the members of my administration, so people have been putting real energy into this effort because they understand it's a matter of fairness. And something like this takes real work. So I want to thank and acknowledge leaders of my administration and their whole teams who've been a part of this. Bill Chong, our Commissioner for Department of Youth and Community Development, thank you to you and your team. Ana Barrio, our Acting Commissioner for DDC, thank you to you and your team. The General Manager of the Public Housing Authority of this city, the General Manager of NYCHA, Vito Mostacholo, thank you very much for all you and your team are doing. Some special guests are here. I want to acknowledge and thank an icon of this community, former Assembly Member Annette Robinson. Thank you so much for joining us. I know Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez is represented ably by her staff. Thank you so much. And an organization I think very highly of that does so much to keep the community safe. I believe members of SOS Bed-Stuy are here. Is that right? Thank you. Give them all a round of applause for the great work you do. Here is the reality. I don't need to tell everyone this, but some people will be hearing this for the first time. For decades, young people here at Marcy needed a place to learn and grow, and they did not have it. And we know the extraordinary talent of the young people here in this community. We've seen some famous names come out of this community. But there's a lot of kids that aren't famous, but they're just as talented. They have just as bright futures. And those futures have to be nurtured. We needed a place for that to happen. People knew that. They fought for it. Members of the community called for this community center for years and years, but tragically to no avail. We recognize there are some wrongs that need to be righted in our city. So the status quo was that the children of Marcy did not have a place, and now they will have that place. And as a reminder, when the community stands up and fights, the community can win. It was crucial that you had elected officials who believed in this and made it a priority. I can tell you that when you hear from someone over and over about something, you can tell it's in their heart and how much they care about it. And I can say that about Councilmember Cornegie, for sure. I want to thank him for his very powerful leadership. I thank the borough president. I thank the state senator. Everyone believed this was crucial for the community. We were ready to join them. And it comes down to a matter of fairness. It comes down to saying to our children that they matter. I've often said you can tell if you are well regarded and if you're respected because you are invested in. Where there's investment, it means you matter. That's what I felt so strongly, for example, in our pre-K program and our 3K program. We're communicating to those precious young children that they matter because we're investing in them getting a great start. And by the way, we have some of the folks here from our pre-K outreach team and 3K outreach. Thank you for the great work you're doing. And anybody, a reminder, if you have any 4-year-olds in your life, you want to see those folks in those T-shirts. So you know when you're being invested in, but you also, unfortunately, people have known what it felt like to be ignored. And they know what it felt like to be left behind. We wanted to right that wrong. So we're turning an abandoned building into a place where no child will ever feel abandoned. That's what we're doing here today. And the skills that young people develop will make their future much, much brighter. They'll be in a safe, nurturing environment when they're in this center. And this is not just about a building. Again, it's not just saying, okay, Marcy Houses deserved a community center. It is about fairness. It's about opening that door for every child. From day one, we have said in this administration that we would not accept the status quo when it came to public housing. 400,000 New Yorkers live in public housing. But decades and decades went by without proper investment, not just in community centers and everything else. In the last 4 years, this administration added to NYCHA $3.7 billion in new investment. $3.7 billion. We recently made a decision to invest another $1 billion on top of that to try and solve some of the long-standing problems. We're doing these things willingly because it's the right thing to do. And change can come, and I've seen it. I've been to the buildings where mold was stopped dead in its tracks because we put in new roofs. And I know people will have more heat this coming winter because we're putting in new boilers. And we made an announcement this week that we're not going to approach this very painful issue of lead the same way it was approached in the past. We're going to apply to the question of lead the same approach we've applied to stopping traffic fatalities. We call it Vision Zero. And the idea is to end the problem once and for all. And this is a city where we've made tremendous progress. Thank God that lead exposure levels have gone down 90% since 2005. This city, our health department, we get a lot of credit. HPD, NYCHA, we are driving down lead exposure, but we need to end it once and for all. So every parent, every child can know they're safe. These are the kinds of things we need to do for 400,000 people. I want to remind people, this is about the future of this city we love and the character of this city. If New York City is not a place for everyone, it's not New York City anymore. If people have been a part of community for generations in many cases, can't live decently and stay in their own neighborhood, it's not New York City. And so when you really think about it, to protect New York City means we have to protect NYCHA, because it's part of the heart and soul of who we are. That's what today is really about. A brighter future for these wonderful young children, but even bigger than that, investing in public housing so it will be there for people for generations to come. Just want to say a few words in Spanish. Después de décadas de luchar por un cambio, los residentes de Marcy Houses verán la construcción de un nuevo centro comunitario. De eso se trata la equidad, convertir edificios en estado de abandono en lugares donde los niños nunca se sientan abandonados. Seguimos trabajando para corregir fallos históricos y mejorar la calidad de vida de los 400,000 neoyorquinos en viviendas públicas. Now I want to turn to a man who was incessant in his advocacy for Marcy. It doesn't matter how tall he is, his voice is strong, but he's impossible to miss in a crowd. And he has, every council member gets an opportunity to put together some resources and apply it in the community and make choices about it. His choice speaks volumes about his priority, because he didn't just say, I want to do a little something for Marcy. He put together $3 million for this effort. Council member Robert Cornegie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So you get these rare occasions, sometimes as an elected official.
I got to put that microphone up more. There we go.
Thank you. You get these occasions, some rare occasions that something that you fought for comes to fruition. And sometimes it's for a lot of people, sometimes it's for little people, sometimes it's for family. I feel like this is for family. Let me tell you something real quick before I read my prepared remarks. As I was sitting there, Karen Cherry came up to me. Everybody know Karen Cherry? And Karen Cherry said, in '09, when you asked me to help you run for office, you told the people in this development that you were going to do something for them, and you actually got it done. And I had forgotten how far back Karen and I went back on knocking on doors in this development saying, first of all, asking what was missing. And a resounding message when we asked what was missing was a community center, not just for children, but for our seniors. And that resonated with me. And the next year, they said, well, we need our residents to get together and clean up Marcy. We don't want to rely on sanitation, and we don't want to rely on NYCHA itself. We want to have our own cleanup day. And we got a cleanup day done, which was Saturday, where the residents of this development come out and take stock in their development and leave a legacy for young people. So it's everybody from our seniors to young people who get out here in the garden, and they created a garden. Where's my Marcy Green Committee? Which, by the way, is an award-winning garden. And if you haven't had a chance, I suggest you stop by the Marcy Garden. If you want to see beautiful vegetables and beautiful flowers that rival that of the botanical gardens, you should stop by Marcy, the garden at Marcy. So now that that personal stuff is out of the way, I'm going to read. I love you, Karen. I love all of you. So,
love everyone.
I love everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, because I could be out here naming one by one who I love. I love everyone. So, of course, any of you who don't know, I'm Robert E. Cornegie Jr., council member for this beautiful 36th district in Brooklyn. I'm pleased to be joined today by my colleagues in government, our mayor and my mayor, Bill de Blasio, and my borough president, Eric Adams, without either of whom we'd not be here today celebrating this wonderful occasion. Senator Martin DeLon, former Assemblywoman Annette Robinson, both tireless advocates for this community for many years. From NYCHA, interim chair Steve Brezhnev, Stan. Let's stand there, I'm sorry. General Manager Vito, and from Marcy Houses, I just want to shout out the Marcy Tenant Association, who I had the pleasure of reading in as new officers last night. So I read them in last night, I'm gonna read them in today. Naomi Colon, TA President, Ms. Ojeda, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Montanez, our Marcy Green Committee President and Vice President, Cynthia Simpson, and members of the Marcy Green Committee. From Community Board 3, Community Board Chair John Flatteau, District Manager Harry Butler, SOS Bed-Stuy, Restoration Corporation Jobs Plus. A big shout out to them, who are over in the Pfizer buildings doing a yeoman's work, putting our young people from this development and developments in the immediate area into employment situations. So I see you, I respect you and appreciate you. The beautiful young Alexis Pender, who is clearly the future of not only Marcy, but the city of New York. So we're here today to celebrate the beginning of construction on a long-awaited and greatly anticipated project here in Bedford-Stuyvesant. For over 20 years, the 4,000 plus residents of this 27-building housing facility have gone without a central place to gather and build community. Today, that changes. Early in my tenure in the council, I was made aware of the overwhelming support amongst the residents and the community of Marcy Houses for the construction of a community center, something that they've lived without for far too long. Thanks to the advocacy of the tenants at the Marcy Houses, especially Miss Sarah Hill, where's Sarah Hill's family? And Miss Rena Ruffin, where's Miss Ruffin's family? Listen, if y'all want to see advocacy, Sarah Hill and Rena Ruffin, now they're deceased, but I can only laugh when I think about the pressure that they put on me. Talk about getting put under pressure. Miss Hill and Miss Ruffin, boy, I really wish that they were here to see this day. But I know that through their families and through prayer, if you believe in a higher being, you know that they know today and they're smiling somewhere in heaven that we got this done. She's here? All right. With the help of my then director of constituent services and Marcy's own Tahira Moore, please give a big shout out to Tahira Moore. Speaking of pressure, now she's no longer mine, she belongs to the mayor, who's definitely putting her through her paces. In coordination with NYCHA and other city officials, it became clear that the location would work. All we would need was the capital required to renovate the space to make it suitable for use as a community center. Over 2 budget cycles, in 2015 and 2016, I was able to eke out a little under $5 million in capital funds for the project. Thanks to the partnership of Mayor de Blasio and Borough President Adams, they chipped in a couple of $1 million. I say that like it's nothing, but they chipped in a couple of $1 million to make it happen. Those of you who are cooks know that it takes a lot of ingredients to get something delicious. Today, this is delicious, ain't it? It's a great honor to be here today, but I would like to sincerely thank those individuals who played a central role, including Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, who, although she said, you know, Rob, I can't help on the Capitol, but when it comes to the programming part of this, I got you. So let's know that our elected officials collectively got together not only to get this built, but to see to it that we have a world-class programs that are available to our young people. So she played a central role in bringing this project to fruition and the many individuals and groups who do so much to support the residents of this community. Again, I just want to thank you. I look forward to the day that we cut the ribbon to go in those doors and play pool and do all of the things that I grew up doing in community centers that helped shape my life. By the way, I gotta say, I grew up in community centers. And I know the importance of them because we have some parents who have to work 1 and 2 jobs just to survive, and they need the community to pitch in. And they need this community center. One of the things that was said early on when we first started talking about it was, well, there are community centers and other developments nearby. Well, we know for a fact that that doesn't work. And until we can get down gun violence and get a unity between the developments, it's incredibly difficult to cross the street in our community for our young people. So this community center was needed. And I gotta be honest, back then, Shola took a real concern with what I was saying, because she first said, well, there's a community center right in the next development. I said, Shola, that ain't gonna work. And she listened. I gotta be honest with you, Mr. Mayor. She listened and she said that makes absolutely sense to her that we wouldn't be able to do that. And she started this ball rolling. So I do wanna thank Shola, who's not here and who's taken a lot of heat over the last months. But she was instrumental in us getting here today. I wish she was here to see it, but I know she's somewhere listening. And I just want to make sure that I shout out her name, because she did a yeoman's job in making sure she shepherded this project. So Shola, we appreciate you and we love you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Senator DeLon. Thank you, Nydia Velasquez. And of course, Mayor Bill de Blasio. Oh, wait. So I'm only going to open half the shirt because at the bottom it has my name, and I don't want anybody to think this is an endorsement for me. This is an endorsement for Marcy. So you can just hold up the top half.
That's right. You are a diplomat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Member. Borough presidents believed in this vision and what an impact it could make for children of the community. He looks out for the whole borough, but he has a special love for Marcy Houses, and he put his money where his mouth is and put $1 million into this. Borough President Eric Adams.
Thank you so much, and I think that what the councilman stated, some of the electeds are not here, but they were very much part of the initiative. And anytime we allocate capital dollars, we reach out to the various elected officials and get their thoughts. The Congresswoman was clearly amazing in how much this project was important. Senator DeLon. But most importantly is Robert and Robert's commitment. And Marcy, you really need to know that, that Robert sat down and spoke with us. And, you know, I said, Robert, you know, I'll give you $250. He says, nope. I said, okay, let me just give you this $500,000. Nope. He wouldn't walk out of the door until he received that full million. And it is important. This is an important initiative. And I think it's imperative that we read and examine the facts. I've joined the mayor throughout this entire borough on some of the initiatives that came out of City Hall under his watch, and they are really game-changing initiatives. And if you're not on the ground, you may have a tendency to believe that there's, you know, symbolic, a few people will be impacted, but that's not the truth. Early pre-K, 3K, municipal ID program, free legal services in civil court, this battle of NYCHA. You know, there's a theme that I always say, some people throw a rock, they hide their hand, then they give you a Band-Aid and act like they're giving you a recipe to heal you. There are people who are out of office and still in office that have thrown rocks into NYCHA and hit you in your head and you bled from it, and they come with some symbolic Band-Aid and act like they're healing you. This is healing, folks. This is real stuff that NYCHA deserves. And I need NYCHA residents, the 400,000 of you, to move from the place of saying, I just want to survive. You want to thrive. There are things you deserve in the living environment that you are in, that you don't want to merely just say, well, okay, I don't have lead paint. Okay, my walls are not peeling. Okay, my elevator may operate 2 times out of the week. No, that low standard, we're going to raise the bar. You are deserving of the best. This young lady here is deserving of the quality that she deserves. The only thing different from a project and a co-op is a mindset and an attitude. You pay rent. No one opens the doors of NYCHA and say, hey, you know, we're going to let you come in and live in on the cheap. You pay rent. You are the anchor tenants of the communities that we're living in. And for far too long, you have been ignored. And Robert is right. Shola believed in rebuilding NYCHA. She believed in it. She knew how long NYCHA was ignored. And it was a hard battle. It was a hard battle. And she put her all. I used to sit at 250 Broadway with her. She put her all in the job of dealing with NYCHA. And it's hard putting yourself out there and being exposed and being on the front line and everyone attacking you, but your commitment and dedication, you're going to be far better off under this administration than any other previous administration since NYCHA was built. We have a long way to go. We have so much more we have to do. We have to embrace technology. We need to have community centers like this where children can come and be with the seniors and the elders of learning of yesteryears and today. But this place is just that. It's a community center where the center of the community is going to come together and embrace and learn from each other and not have to stay in these silos of our apartments and not engaging with each other one-on-one and communicating with each other. And the complexity of having centers in each location that we will eventually will bridge is what Robert was talking about. If you're not on the ground, you won't fully appreciate the complexities of many of our public housing locations are in conflicts with each other. A child can't cross the darn street to go to the store without being a victim of some violence because of where he belongs. And we're taking down that wall with members like SOS and other on-the-ground organizations and groups. You can't be a good shepherd if you don't smell like a sheep and be among the sheep and participate with them on the ground. That's what this is about. That $3 million, $1 million, $2 million, coming together with leaders of our other elected officials, of coming together and making a project like this happen. This is a beautiful facility for beautiful people to enjoy the beauty of their community. That's what this is all about. We got it right. We're going to get it right, and we're going to do the right things for NYCHA. That's our promise and our commitment. Thank you, the residents, the advocates, for what you have done. Thank you.
I want for breakfast whatever Eric Adams had.
Kale from their garden.
That's right, kale. I take that back. I don't want that for breakfast. We know that to really address the long-term needs of the residents of NYCHA, we're going to need help from the federal government. I know Congressmember Velasquez has been fighting for us. Starting to see a little bit of progress in Washington. We got a long way to go. We need help from the state government, too. And that's always been a struggle, but we're not going to give up. Great champion for public housing in Albany, and we're going to be depending on him, is State Senator Martin Malavi DeLon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. But first, I want to congratulate all the residents of Marcy Houses, and especially the youth, because Marcy has finally made it because our local elected officials have listened to you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, because you have done so much for NYCHA. And I agree with you. The state of New York needs to match what you're doing. Amen. Let me tell you that in 2017, in the New York State budget, there was $200 million, a mere $200 million for all of NYCHA for the city of New York. In the 2017 budget, there was $250 million. But when the Democrats are in charge of the Senate next year, we need to match New York City's contribution to NYCHA. And my pledge is that we're going to work to do that. Amen. Okay? I want to congratulate and commend the councilman, Robert Carnegie, for all his efforts, because as a former council member, I know that it takes years to accumulate $5 million to get a community center. We did the same thing in Bushwick. But to NYCHA residents, I want you to know that in the 18th Senatorial District, you are the most stable population within my Senate district. I have 22 developments, and I'm going to be there for you like you have been there for me. And for our borough president, thank you very much for all you have done for Brooklyn, especially Marcy Houses and NYCHA. And to Alexa and our future generation, we are going to be there with you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Solamente quería darle las gracias al alcalde por la ayuda que él le da a nuestra comunidad. Nosotros aquí en Marcy y en todo NYCHA lo tenemos que mantener unidos, apoyándonos uno al otro. So, bendición y gracias.
Thank you. So I want to just say it's really beautiful to be a part of this celebration. And it's particularly beautiful because it is an affirmation of the hard work of so many people here in this community and folks who did the work, including, as we heard, some who are no longer here with us to see their victory, but who we honor nonetheless. So this is something beautiful and powerful. Now I got to speak to another issue. And there's a phrase that says, from the sublime to the ridiculous. So to me, this is the sublime. This is a beautiful, positive thing that we've talked about here at Marcy. What I'm about to talk to you about is the ridiculous. And it may not surprise some of you to know that the thing that is ridiculous comes from the Trump administration. So I want to address absolutely ridiculous allegations made this week by the United States Customs and Border Patrol. Last month, I went down to Texas. Like so many people in this city and in this country, I was repulsed by a policy of family separation, taking children away from their parents. By the way, those children overwhelmingly have not been reunited with their parents yet. A broken and horrendous policy, and I went down there with mayors, Republicans and Democrats alike, to try to inspect the site where these children were being held in a town called Tornillo on the Texas border. Group of elected officials from around the country, we politely asked the federal authorities for access to the facility to make sure the kids were okay. That was denied. That was denied to the mayors. That was denied previously to United States senators and to members of Congress, which makes no sense that something paid for with our tax dollars, our representatives were not even allowed to see. So we were not given access to the children or to the facilities. But we were there to understand what was going on, and we wanted to get whatever view we could of this tent city that was literally created in the middle of the desert to house these children. My security detail raised this issue to the border agents, said that we wanted to get a different view of this tent city. The border agents consulted with their supervisor, and they agreed, and they let our cars cross the American border into Mexico at a normal checkpoint. While we were there, we were told where the borderline was, and we respected it. We came back the exact same way. Both times showed passports, went through with the approval of the agents at the entry point. At no point did we disregard any instructions from federal authorities, period. So why suddenly, weeks later, is this letter showing up from the federal government? Well, it is another attempt to distract from an inhumane policy. You can tell when our federal government is doing something that's hurting people, they don't want that to be the focus of attention. So now, trying to get the attention off of a policy literally called family separation, they're trying once again to distract. They have separated these families, and they literally have no real plan to reunite them. So here is my message to President Trump, and it's a message I can say on behalf of the people of his hometown. We simply won't stand for this. We won't stand for a policy that separates children from their parents. I won't stand for it. This is the ultimate city of immigrants. We respect everybody. So I won't stand for this policy, and I won't be silent. and I won't accept any effort to intimidate. I will not sit idly by as the president rips children from their families, and I will not let him continue his efforts to destroy the lives of these young people. Threats by the Trump administration will not stop me from speaking out, and they won't stop my fellow mayors from speaking out. And they won't stop everyday New Yorkers and Americans from speaking out. So I'm going to keep saying what I have been saying. Sending kids 2,000 miles away from their parents is wrong. These children must be reunited immediately with their families. And I won't stop telling the truth about ICE. That agency is broken. It is creating fear and division. It can no longer be a productive part of this country. Its time has come and gone. That's what there is to say on that matter. Thank you, everyone, for being here today, and congratulations to the whole Marcy community.